Mountain climbers say they do it because it is there, an impossible, tangible challenge. But runners have the mountain inside of them unseen. The unknown limits of a man's endurance have made foot racing exciting since the times of the ancient Greeks. In our time, the greatest challenge has been the 4-minute mile. Who did it and how? Paavo Nurmi, running against a team of American Indians in the early 20s, is a modern legend. In 11 years of racing, he set 19 world records at distances from 1,500 meters up to 10,000. One of them was an amazing mile for that day, 4 minutes, 10 and 4/10 seconds. The peerless Phantom startled the track world by carrying a stopwatch on his endless journeys into time. His secret was pace, evenly distributed over the distance. In the past, men had run fast at the start, coasted, and then had driven hard during the last quarter mile. Nurmi sought a steady pace that was faster than other men could endure. The Phantom Finn, now retired, was greeted by the late Mayor LaGuardia in 1940 when he arrived to aid Finnish war relief. Broadway gave him New York's old affectionate welcome. With him is Mäki, another great Finnish track star. The glory that Nurmi brought Finland reached a nostalgic climax in 1948. Here in Helsinki, the ageless Nurmi carries the flame to the Olympic torch that represents the 15 centuries old ideal of peace and sportsmanship. After Nurmi comes Jules Ladumeg. In Paris, 7 years after Nurmi set his world mark, the little Frenchman forgets that his countrymen run for their trains and buses by the meter and tackles the English statute mile. With a high kicking stride, the little runner shows signs of being a great pacer. With little competition to drive him, he nevertheless maintains the lung-bursting pressure. His time is 4 minutes, 9 and 2/10 seconds. He's clipped a full second and 2/10 from Nurmi's mark. Ladumeg was France's greatest challenge to the Paris bicycle. As the man par excellence of the hour, Parisians naturally honor him by letting him start a bicycle race for newsboys. Jules's example of footwork was not followed, alas, and Paris newsboys continue to peddle their papers to this day. Ladumeg rekindled that old 4-minute fever. Between 1933 and 1936, Bill Bonthran of Princeton and Jack Lovelock of New Zealand caught the disease. In a great race in 1934, Lovelock, a great pacer and a great man with a last-ditch kick, struggled with Bonthran. The taller Lovelock is sprinting now. Look at that stride. You'll see it again in another British doctor, and it's Lovelock in 4 minutes, 7 seconds and 6/10. And the British, who first put 5,280 feet together and called it a mile, get the world record for the distance. The grueling study of a steady killing pace carried on by Nurmi was further advanced by great bursts of speed that modern milers still were able to tear out of their hearts and legs in the last quarter mile. Here on that same Princeton track, Glenn Cunningham, Bill Bonthran, and Gene Fensky are trying to climb that mighty mountain no man had ever climbed, the 4-minute mile. The Kansas Prancer will not be denied today. The world record of 4 minutes and 6 seconds, 8/10 is being set. Cunningham's record lasted 3 years. Then, in a specially devised handicap race, Sidney Witterson gives the other runners distance and passes most of them. As each competitor starts, Witterson is provided with another fresh pacer. It brings him over the finish line in record time, 4 minutes, 6 and 4/10 seconds. During the war, the great Swedes Gunder Haug and Arnie Anderson traded records back and forth. 4 minutes 2.6, 1.6, 1.4. But 4-minute fever was a barrier as well as a driving force. And it was quiet John Landy of Australia who one day in Finland ran a mile in 3 minutes, 58 seconds. The barrier was broken. And now Landy finds himself challenged in the 1954 British Empire Games in Vancouver. The crowd is seeing a great pacer, Landy, matched against the master strategist, Roger Bannister. Both have learned the same thing about running, that the biggest barrier to the 4-minute mile is in the mind. Fatigue can be overcome by training. The thought of fatigue can be overcome by will. Landy's killing pace leaves the field behind, all but the strategist Bannister. But the pace hasn't been killing enough. Bannister starts his kick, and what a kick it is. Remember Lovelock? It's not a record race, 3 minutes, 58 and 8/10, but it's the first time two men have ever broken 4 minutes in the same race. Both men retire, Bannister to his medical studies, Landy to teaching, but the challenge remains. London, 1955. Three men, Britishers Brian Hewson and Chris Chataway, struggle with Laszlo Tabori of Hungary in a great international mile. And don't they look like three small boys running away from a broken window? Tabori by 2 strides. All three are under 4 minutes. Tabori's time is 1 second more than Landy's 3:58. But is 3:58 the ultimate? John Landy, coaxed out of retirement, is almost surely on his way to a 3:57 mile when, thinking he can help, Landy stops. The record is gone. But who will ever forget this incredibly sporting act by the man who just loves to run fast? He still comes from behind to win in 4 minutes, 4 seconds. Landy is in the United States in the spring of 1956. In a special race in Los Angeles, Ron Delaney of Ireland and Villanova University sets the pace. Somewhere in back is an obscure miler by the name of Joe Bailey of Australia and the University of Oregon. Landy at first concentrates on beating Delaney. But Delaney fades. Landy's alone. Then out of nowhere, Bailey. Later, Bailey will say, I was really running for second place, but I kind of got excited. You are now watching what is probably the fastest lap ever run in a mile race. Here is the entire story of the mile run. Landy, who first did the impossible, drawing Bailey, who didn't know he had it in him, on to new achievement. It's the first less than 4-minute mile on U.S. soil, 3:58.6. Now there's no telling what unknown limits may be reached by athletes like John Landy, who cured the world of 4-minute fever and gave it new races to run.